The A-skip was introduced and used mainly within track-based sports. This was to develop correct foot placement and imitation of locomotion in foot striking patterns. It has become much more widespread amongst many team sports involving high-intensity bouts of running. If we look at this demo, we can see the A-skip involves a recycling pattern of the legs, whereby simultaneous striking takes place by both feet. What makes the A-skip a useful exercise for improving running mechanics is the unilateral extension of ankle, knee and hip on one leg, whilst the opposite is propelled into a hip flexion pattern, preparing and initiating a recocking phase of the flexed hip, allowing for continued locomotion for the cycle to repeat. So to summarise the basic A-skip technique, as coaches we are looking for a small ground contact time, a short recycled lower limb action in which the heel is tucked under the bum, the ankles to be in a slightly dorsiflex position upon landing, and for the trunk to be in a neutral or slightly leant forward position. Arm cycling and constraints such as repeated side cycling and the integration into other cycling drills may be used to challenge the performer. In terms of faults, we need to make sure that the hips are in a stable forward position. There is no lumbar flexion upon the drive of the knee, which may indicate overactive hip flexors. So let's look at some other benefits of rhythmic hopping, such as the A-skip. It is a plyometric activity, so adaptations linked to plyometric training may occur, such as tendon stiffness, reduction in GTO sensitivity, increased pre-activation of the agonist contraction, amongst other benefits leading to increased speed, acceleration and power performance characteristics. As the intensity of the A-skip is generally quite low, it can be used with most populations looking to improve acceleration and general tendon compliance. Furthermore, as the drill can emphasise speed of movement or cadence of movement, ground contact time strategies can be targeted very easily to correspond with particular sporting groups. However, the drill shouldn't be selected only on the basis of capacity improvements. As suggested, the introduction of running drills was to elicit changes in running mechanics to create a more efficient gait pattern. I'd like to end this slide by also suggesting that rhythmic drills such as the A-skip are useful warm-up tools to stimulate the central nervous system due to the complexity that can be created within these drills. So the next area I believe rhythmic drills have an effect on, and in particular the stimulation of, is the sling systems, a theory developed by VLOG4 et al. 2007. The four systems we're going to look at is the anterior oblique sling system, the lateral sling system, the deep longitudinal sling system, and the posterior oblique sling system. So the anterior oblique sling system provides transverse plane stabilisation and force transmission. This provides rotation and flexion of the trunk. The lateral sling system provides stabilisation to the contraction of glute medius and adductors, which then stabilises the pelvis, and also provides contralateral activation of the QL, which elevates the pelvis. The deep longitudinal sling system, which provides reciprocal force transmission longitudinally from the trunk to the ground, activates the bicep femoris, which increases tension in the sacrotuberous ligament, transmits force across the sacrum, stabilising the sacroiliac joint, and allows force transference up the erector spinae to the body. Lastly, the posterior oblique system works synergistically with the DLS, the deep longitudinal sling system, and the muscle fibre arrangements run perpendicular to the sacroiliac joint, providing transverse plane stabilisation to the sacroiliac joint. So now we have a better understanding of the sling systems. We can understand that due to the contralateral force-producing co-coordinative control required to perform an A-skip, we are able to activate multiple sling systems important for functional movement across multiple planes. This may benefit coaches with limited time frames to adequately warm up performers with less exercises, such as these. As we come towards the end of this vlog, let's look at some of the possible ways to regress and progress the A-skip. In terms of regression, we can go right back to basics with just simple toe tap rhythmic hopping to reintroduce cadence. But for some, it may just be an issue of removing arms to allow them to focus more on their feet. What we can do is by simply placing a PVC or dowel rod on either the shoulders or in an overhead position. This will both encourage upright posture and allow them to work on their coordination. If hip flexion is still a trouble, what we can then do is revert to a hopscotch-like pattern to ingrain rhythm before reverting back into a knee drive pattern. Once the athlete is able to perform an A-skip, we can progress it by cycling each side multiple times, emphasising floor strike, or performing lateral or reverse variations of the drill. To conclude this vlog, the A-skip is an extremely useful drill often included within warm-ups to ingrain running mechanics, stimulate the athlete co-coordinatively and mentally, as well as a low-level plyometric activity which is extremely flexible to regress and progress.